Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I answer another question from the comments section. Today's question is, are fountain pens really that different to ballpoint pens, and is one any better than the other? Well, I want to start by saying I'm not a fountain pen snob. I love fountain pens. I use fountain pens for the majority of my writing, but I am not a fountain pen snob in that they are all that I use. I understand that there are times when a ballpoint pen is a slightly better option. For instance, controversial perhaps, but in my Hobonichi, I actually, for the majority of my planning, use a ballpoint pen because I'm often planning ahead and having to turn pages quickly, and I don't have time to sit and wait for the fountain pen ink to dry, or I can use a blotting sheet. I actually don't like the way the ink looks after I use a blotting sheet. So I prefer to use a ballpoint pen, and then when I have time, I'll use a fountain pen in it for sort of more detailed stuff. But I carry with me a ballpoint pen, a felt tip pen, a rollerball pen, and a number of fountain pens every day. For example, the Yucas felt tip pen lives in my bag. The Faber-Castell Hexo rollerball lives in my bag. A Ballograph ballpoint pen lives on my Hobonichi. So are they any better? Well, the writing experience is different. When you write with a fountain pen, you are writing with liquid ink as opposed to, say, a ballpoint pen, which uses an oil-based ink. Felt tip pens use a range of different things. The Yucas one uses a fountain pen cartridge, so that uses fountain pen ink. And rollerball pens use a liquid ink, so they're closer. But if we're comparing the two sort of extremes, the ballpoint pen and the fountain pen, what is the difference in terms of the writing experience? Well, for me, it's about pressure. When you write with a fountain pen, if it's a well-tuned nib, you're writing with no pressure. It is the capillary action of the pen, of the ink, running down through the feed and then through the tines and onto the paper. And that gives you a very smooth, free writing experience. The ballpoint pen, where the pen is fed down to the ball, which rolls through the oil-based ink and then onto the page, is a different method. You do have to apply a little bit of pressure. The writing angle can be a little bit different. You generally tend to write more upright, more direct down onto the page with a ballpoint pen. With a fountain pen, you're actually better to write at a slight angle onto the page. So there are differences. For me, the big difference, though, I think is the individuality of a fountain pen. The combination of being able to pair just about any ink with any pen, nib sizes, things like stub nibs if they're what you're into. You can't do some of those things with ballpoint pens, obviously. There are a number of rollerball pens that use fountain pen ink. But I think the writing experience with a fountain pen is one of the most beautiful, elegant writing experiences you can have on the page. If you get that holy trinity just right on with the right paper, the right pen, and the right ink, it's magic. But for convenience, for practicality, a ballpoint pen is great. And anything that gets people writing on paper, in a world where we live on screens like you're looking at now and I'm filming on now, anything that gets people using handwriting, writing on paper, your brain works differently, it processes differently. And I'm all for that. I do a lot of writing, journaling, letter writing, writing out lyrics to shows, all those sorts of things. So write with whatever you want to write with. Yes, the writing experience is very different. Is one better than the other? That's up to personal taste. I do personally prefer the feeling of writing with a fountain pen, and I think a lot of my regular viewers will agree. But as I said, for practicality, there's absolutely nothing wrong with writing with a good ballpoint pen. And yes, there are good and there are very, very bad ballpoint pens. The Ballograph is a great ballpoint pen. The Lamy logo is a great ballpoint pen. That Lamy refill is beautiful. So if you are wanting to write with a ballpoint pen, do invest. Find something. I don't mean invest a lot of money. Invest time and actually find something that writes well for you, that is the right ink for you. So whether it be a ballpoint pen or a rollerball or whatever the case may be. But if you're on the fence about whether you should be writing with a fountain pen, get a fountain pen. Try it out. Once again, you don't have to go expensive. There are very affordable options, right down to things like the Platinum Preppy, which writes beautifully, which will cost not much more than a couple of sort of, good sort of ballpoint pens. So write with the fountain pen, write with the ballpoint pen, just write. Yes, the experience is different, but is one any better than the other? That's up to you. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you've got questions, drop them in the comments and I'll try and cover them in one of these videos. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.